All right, so the next one we're going to move on to public static void update block state. And in here, we're going to type in Boolean burning world int x int y int z. Again, I'm always putting in false characters all over the place. My typing is off. So we're going to start with creating direction. So int direction is equal to world.getBlock metadata x, y, and z. Okay, and then tile entity. Tile entity. Remember your camel casing, which is first word has a lowercase letter, and then each word after has an uppercase letter when they're all joined together, like the way these ones are. And that's going to be equal to world.get tile entity xyz x, y, and z. There we go. And then we're going to go is burning is equal to true. Now, both of those is burning and is burning 2 are for two different things. You can kind of see what they're for. The one is more of just a state. It's more of like a checking thing for us. We can see in debugging that yes, it is in the burning state, or no, it's not. Okay, done that. So now we're going to go if burning. So it said that's a Boolean. So if burning. So if it's equal to true, then we're going to go world.setBlock xyz xyz, and then the block we want it to place, which is main class dot spFurnace active. So basically what we're doing here is so if it is burning, it's going to make sure that the block is always the spFurnace active block. Else world.setBlock x, y, z main class dot spFurnace idle. Okay, so spFurnace idle, good. And outside of that, if statement, we're going to type is burning. It's where it is going to be equal to false. Okay, now world, hit enter twice. World.setBlock with metadata with notify x, y, and z. Then we want direction. Didn't actually put in direction, and then part 5 is going to be our flag, which is going to be 2. Okay, fantastic. So we got one more little thing to put in here. So if tile entity is not equal to null, is not equal to null, tile entity dot validate, and world dot set tile entity xyz tile entity. So x, y, z tile entity. Perfect. Another function completed. Oh man, tough work. Tasty. All right. So the next section here is our break block. So for our break block, we're going to type in public void break blocks. This is basically what's going to happen when the block breaks. So basically what we're setting up here is, so if there's stuff inside of the furnace, so if we have we have some iron ore in the furnace with some coal in the furnace, and there's some iron ingots in the furnace as well. When we break the block, we want it to drop all of those. And when we drop those, we just don't want it just to drop it. We want them to like fountain out of it kind of thing. So this is what we're setting up here. It's a lot of code. But code that we're going to do nonetheless. So we have parameters here. We have world, int x, int y, and int z, as well as block, and int meta. Okay. All right, so we're going to start. So if it is not burning, so if it is burning, so if it is not burning, that's what we're looking at here, I guess. Tile entity sp furnace tile entity furnace is equal to, and then we got to cast it, so I'm just gonna copy this, paste it in there. World dot get tile entity x, y, z. It's the first part. And now if tile entity, okay, so we're getting the tile entity because we have to, because the tile entity is what stores what is in the furnace and what happens when things happen to the furnace. It's basically what creates the functionality of the furnace, of it burning stuff, and it's basically what makes crafting tables work and creates the behavior for chests and all this stuff. So this is kind of thing that over the course of this ShaqPower series, we're going to be seeing a lot of this tile entity stuff, because it's in anything that has to do with containing something or has a GUI or something like that. So yeah. So if tile entity furnace is not equal to null, so we're going to try and get it and store it into a variable, and then if that variable is still equal to null, then we're not going to do this. But if it isn't, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than tile entity furnace dot get inventory size, which is a function that we are going to create. We're going to increase I. Okay, and then item stack, and we're going to make that equal to tile entity furnace dot get stack in slot I. Alrighty. Whew. Okay. Now if item stack is not equal to null, so you need to do this. So whenever you create a variable that's a value of something else, to avoid yourself from having from your game or your app or whatever you're making from crashing, you need to test to see if it's actually there. So like in PHP, let's say you're filling out a form. You store that stuff into variables on whatever page you've set your form to require or to go to when you submit the form. That file can get that data. You don't want to just say, okay, we're going to set this to this, and we're going to hope that they filled it out. You always want to double check, because when you double check, then it just stops you from having errors and causing stuff to crash, and because it's stupid stuff. All right, so we're going to create some floats here. We're going to create 3 floats. Just 3? Yeah, X, Y, and Z. So we're going to go float. I'm just going to call it F1. And it's going to be equal to this dot random, which is that variable that we created earlier. Dot next float. Okay, and we're going to times that by 0.6f plus 0.1f. Okie dokie. We're going to copy that, paste it for the others, and we're just going to go F2, or we'll go F, F1, F2. So F, F1, F2. So again, this is your X, Y, and this is your Z for which way they're going to go. So it's basically going to say that, okay, for each item stack, so for each stack of items, so there's 3, in this case of the furnace, there's 3 stacks. Let's say, so your ingots, your stack of ingots is going to go to a random X, a random Y, and a random Z. Now, of course, when it comes to the Y, gravity is going to apply. It's going to pull it down to the ground anyway, but it creates the kind of like sets the trajectory level of how far it's going to throw up in the air before it falls. And then we're timing it by 0.6f, which will bring it down within a value of 1. So I guess they're going to say, so as long as it's within 1 block, it's going to spread up no more than a block. Cools. So we've done that if statement, and then within that if statement, we're going to do a while loop. So I'm going to go while item stack dot stack size is greater than 0. We're going to create some variables, int j, which is going to be equal to this dot random dot next int. Okay. And within there we're going to have 21, and within the parentheses, and we're going to plus 10. Okay. And then if j is greater than item stack dot stack size, then what are we going to do? We're going to make j equal to item stack dot stack size, and then we're going out of that if statement, and then we're going to go item stack dot stack size dot stack size minus equals j, and entity item. So now we're basically going to start spawning the items on the ground. So entity item, very creative names today, is equal to new entity item. It's wanting some parameters. We want world. Now this part is pretty complicated. It's not too bad. Okay, so we're going to create first set of parentheses. We're going to type in double. Outside of that set of parentheses that we just created, we're going to go space. We're going to create 2 sets of parentheses. So shift 9 twice, and we're going to type in float. We're casting a double of a float, and then whatever the value that we're putting in there, whatever value that we're putting in here, we're casting it to a float, and then we're casting that to a double. Okay? Don't ask me. It's just the way it is. X plus F. Okay? That's for each and every one. So double outside of that parenthesis, do it twice, cast it to float, and then go to the next one. So you should have 2 at the end each time. We're going to go X plus, or in this case, we're going to go Y plus F2. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Plus F, not F2, F1. And then the Z is gonna be, so we go outside of that one. Oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Double float Z plus F2. And then new item stack. Item stack dot get item J item stack dot get item damage. Now, so basically, the reason why we're throwing on that. Okay, good. Item stack, import item stack. Actually, that's complaining. This has to have a capital S. There's probably not enough of those on there. That's not it. Oh boy. So I missed a comma in between two of the parameters, which is why this is a little bit complicated as well. When you type in new item stack, you have to have a parentheses right after item stack and put everything inside of it. All right, so if you have anything, if you have any problems with that, let me know, and in the comments below, and I'll paste that line somewhere. Maybe I'll paste it in the comment or in the description, because that is a little bit of a long line of code to be trying to remember yourself. All right, so now if item stack dot has tag compound. Again, this is something that we're going to be using later on and not necessarily anytime soon. So EntityItem dot getEntityItem dot set tag compound, and then we need to MBT tag compound. And item stack dot get tag compound dot copy. Boom, bam. Import MBT tag compound, and that gets rid of the errors. Okay, so it's just missing some parentheses, I guess. And all right, so we're done that part. Now we're the last 4 or 5 lines. 5 lines of this. Actually, no. We got 7 more lines in this function, and then we got one more. One more. Okay, so F3. So we're gonna create another flow called F3, and we're gonna make it equal to 0.025F. So basically, what we're doing right now is we're gonna be doing the motion of like the velocity of which it shoots out of where the block was. Okay, so EntityItem dot motion x is equal to, now we gotta do that double thing again, cast to a double and then casting to a float. This dot random dot next Gaussian times F3. Cool. And we're going to copy that 2 more times. And then we have motion Y and motion Z. And they're going to be the same thing, except for on the Y, we're going to add a little bit. We're going to go 0.1F, which gives it a little bit more height. Gives it a little bit of an up velocity. A little bit more of an up velocity to actually create that kind of arcing effect. Okay. World dot spawn world.spawn entity in world, and we're going to put entity item. Now this is where you're really going to have to pay attention. So we're going to go press your down arrow from the end of that line 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So you should be at the fourth last parameter. Press enter. So you should have three curly braces on each side of whatever line that you're on. You're going to type world.func underscore 147453 underscore f x y z and block. Okay, and then 2 more down. Make sure there's still one in between. Super dot break block world x y z block. Oh, for fuck's sakes! Oh god, that's just gonna make this harder. So super dot break block world x y z block and meta. Cool. Okay, on to the last function.